started it. Let me just adjust sound volume real quick. Hopefully they're not too loud. Kelsey, you have the chat pulled up in front of you, yeah?
Yes.
You have
Yo,
to
what is
tell
this
me.
about our?
Oh my god.
What is this about our haters? Okay.
You have to tell me if there's a volume discrepancy. I tried to get it right this time, but I never get it right.
Our haters.
Anyway, welcome. This is China Talk, episode 13. It's going to be our regionals show. It might be a little bit shorter than the normal show, but we'll see if we can drag this out. Joining me on the panelist desk is going to be representing Paravine. It's going to be Hubo, Soldra, representing Esports Heaven, Editor-in-Chief Drexen, and then on the far side, representing Who Cares, it's Kelsey Moser.
Rude.
That's pretty rude.
Yeah.
She thinks we can't stall this out.
No, I was gonna. I meant to introduce Drexen as an ass-blasted CLG fan gay, but I totally missed it. Right. Okay. So talking about regionals, first and foremost, we were just talking about something really interesting, and so I kind of wanted to put it back over to that conversation, and it was about, and now I'm completely forgetting. Oh, right. LMQ in North America, obviously losing out to TSM. I don't know about you guys, but I noticed a bit of a discrepancy in the hate of the Chinese team, quote-unquote Chinese team.
What do you mean?
Well, around Reddit, people seem to not like
Twitter,
them,
dude.
and Twitter seem to not like them because they came from LPL and they are a full Chinese team. And I believe we were talking about the discrepancy between LMQ being a full, all these guys from China versus, TSM, who has, like you guys said, a Korean and a European. And
I don't see the
or non-Americans.
Like
more non-Americans than Americans. And I think Wild Turtle's Canadian too, if I remember
he's
correctly.
Canadian.
Obviously, he's not
Dyrus
American.
is not from the contiguous states, but that still counts, I guess.
So you have Dyrus, you have Bjergsen.
So you're saying why don't we give TSM the same amount of, or at least half the amount of hate as LMQ?
I'm just curious why.
I don't think it's so much that.
I don't think it's not like it's non-North American, it's Western. It's Western versus non-Western, like Eastern. I feel like the Eastern players, I mean, am I wrong? What do you guys think? I mean, of course we have Helios, and we have Lustboy.
Yeah, no, but people, like, first of all, we have to remember that people showered LMQ with tons and tons of fucking praise. Like, they're like, holy shit, this is like the true American team. Like, fucking Dream got into the LCS and stuff like that.
I find that very rare. Like, yes, that narrative was out there.
I'd say it's pretty mixed.
No, it was no. At the beginning of the season,
you have to dig deep in the Reddit comments, man. It's mixed. It's like 50-50.
I'm not like you, Mike. I don't like go down, like dig deep into like Reddit's anus, just trying to find shit.
I don't purposefully seek out people who call me an ass-blasted CLG fan.
I don't like.
That was on Twitter, okay?
I'm not a masochist like that. I just don't like. I don't dig deep enough. This is why you're the editor-in-chief of Esports Heaven, and I'm not, dude. Because you go for the real. You go for the real scoop.
He's digging for it.
Real Reddit.
No, dude. Like I don't like. Honestly, like fine. Even if the reaction was mixed, it was better. It was better than what I would like to. Because anything positive was good, given LMQ's history, and also given the fact that the online community is a place where feelings snowball, so to speak, and so you have one sentiment. If that sentiment is shared, then that sentiment is pushed to the top of Reddit, right? And so the fact that I could go on Reddit and see, oh, LMQ, you guys are so cool, there was like a Zhao appreciation thread while LMQ was losing on Reddit, and I was like, wow, this really gives me hope for the online community, because we can still sing praises like this, even though fans have the right to be scared, especially since we look at past examples like in Europe with StarCraft, where Koreans came in and completely took over the European scene. If what I understand is correct, because I'm not a huge StarCraft fan, but from what I understand, Koreans came in and took over the European scene, and there are even Koreans in the United States as well, like players like Violet, who I think live in the United States but are still technically Korean players. So you think about that situation, you say, do I really want my NALCS, like our esport, to be dominated by Korean players? And you think no, but at least Americans were civil enough to deem that appropriate. You fucking I've seen some of the translated comments from Weibo or some of the Chinese forums and talking about World Elite, they fucking tear them apart, dude. Holy shit. So
but those are again they come from like tabloid sites like Duo One.
Yeah, that's true. But then like you have that sentiment in every situation. And I think we've been very good about it. We've been very, very good about it. Like,
but here's,
as a community.
Here's my question. So you brought up an interesting thread in the overarching idea that you don't want Koreans to come in and start just dominating every scene and becoming part of every scene. Why is that? Why do we not want Koreans in North America? Why do we not, like, why does that exist? Why are rules being implemented that you must have at least 3 Chinese players on a team for it to be considered a Chinese team?
I think the thing is just that it's specifically related to the live audience having something to relate to, you know? And I don't know if that's like a racial issue or whatever, but
it is a racial issue.
That seems pretty racial.
I think it probably is. I'm like trying to go around it a little bit, but like at the end of the day, I think it comes down to it. Because like if you think about it, the way LMQ got through, like, and while I will respect the idea that, you know, they have been largely accepted, and I've been happy with that too. And so, you know, maybe it's more the negative majority that have been, you know, not so keen to accept it. But I think it's
minority.
But I mean, if you think about it, look at the morals of like the way LMQ got through the LCS compared to like EG buying their spot and
but that's the thing. No one bitches about EG, but we still look at the LMQ hate. Where they like LMQ they fly across the globe, they learn English, they take a year of their time to qualify up through the challenger scene. They go through relegations, and EG just comes over. Hey, it's cool. We're just gonna take this spot right here.
No, it's because of people like me, like people like me and Dark Regime that people fucking hate. Like LMQ, like honestly, like if EDG came over and they got first place, no one would be salty. Like no one would be salty because they were the first place team like in China. But then since people are saying like, oh, LMQ's gonna come over and dominate you motherfuckers, even though they were like the 6th place team in the LPL, like of course it's like measuring penis size, right? It's like, you know, we don't want to get like fucked by like these like known Chinese players.
The fans that create this animosity?
Of course, no. Who you think it's the players that create this animosity?
I'm asking you.
The fans. No, and also, it's not a racial thing. It's based on pride and region. Like nobody fucking hates on like Wild Turtle or like Skara because they're ethnically Chinese, right? Yeah, no. I mean, even though they're ethnically Chinese, no one like. I've never seen like racist comments on Reddit against them. It's mostly the fact that they came from a region which is deemed better than which is deemed better than the Western regions, and they were a crap tier team in that Western region, and now they came to NA to seemingly get an easier shot at Worlds, and that doesn't sit well with a lot of people, especially since, you know, America's like the blue collar country. We're like the people that work for their stuff, and LMQ has working for their stuff, but there's still that minority that can't really accept the fact that this Chinese team, you know, they don't want to compete in a stronger region, so they're going to come to the weaker region and try to shit on everybody. It just doesn't sit well with people, and I fully understand that. Like, it's not a huge deal to me, and it shouldn't really be a huge deal to us, in my opinion.
See, like, this is my issue with honestly, if a bunch of Korean teams came to North America, or you know, let's go to China. Like, if they got rid of the 2 Koreans per team, and then a bunch of Koreans came and were actually able to outcompete all the Chinese in the situation, and then like there were no more Chinese teams. There were no more North American teams in like the sense that all the players are from North America. No more European teams in the sense that all the players are from Europe. I don't mind that scenario, or I guess Southeast Asia. We might as well throw them in too. And then they're all like Korean, or they're all whatever race. I would be excited for that because I think it would increase, first of all, the competition, and it would also like allow these players, like they've said time and again, that these players in North America are entitled to more pay, like these Korean and Chinese players who come over, pretty much better working environment, like more freedom, like things that they, and by freedom I don't mean, I just mean like less structured schedule. They're allowed to, if they want to practice a lot, they can. If they don't want to, whatever, they can go and have some.
So you're talking about a quality of life change versus it's a free shot at Worlds. Let's hop on the train.
Yeah, and just like the ability to make more money, just generally. Like we've heard about all these management crises, like especially with LMQ coming to the States. Like a lot of the management and stuff in China can be like sort of questionable. Like there was a recent issue with Positive Energy where they almost didn't get paid until like Sika made this huge, like, shitstorm all over Weibo where he was like, oh god, he was telling people that Positive Energy was trying to not pay them because they said, quote unquote, they didn't give it their best. They did end up getting paid, but the fact that that shit like happens, that they were trying to get away with that at all, is really ridiculous. Like, I don't know.
Sure.
I think that like having these players come over here would make me excited from that perspective. If we assume that North American management can be better, which again, like if you talk about the Quantic guy who kind of just disappeared off.
Oh goodness, you mean the 4-knot guy?
Yeah, the 4-knot/Quantic guy who just kind of appeared off the face of the earth and didn't pay anyone. So obviously that's not the case, but in theory, because there are certain laws in place in North America and Europe that would allow these players to, if they had knowledge of the law, and that's something that's a piece of infrastructure that definitely needs to be put into place to contest these kind of rulings from management and this kind of poor behavior from management, then that would, in theory, be like a better situation for them. And of course, like, how is the story of someone coming from another country to your country, like wanting to your region or whatever and wanting to represent you and play LOL for you? Like, how is that not like
how do you
a
know,
good
how
story?
how do you know that they went to like represent us?
Yeah, but how do you know that they want to
they've said
just
that?
get a free pass into Worlds? Like, it could be, you know, devil's advocate both ways.
Well,
They-
I don't care.
think
Like,
they've
that's,
publicly
if they
said-
want to get a free pass into Worlds, they're still like representing our League of Legends in a sense. Like, they come and they either change our meta or they impact our meta, and then we get to watch them play all the time. And like, they interact with the fans. Like, LMQ is trying to interact with the fans. Like, even if they didn't necessarily want to specifically represent North America, and even if their management has come out and said, yes, we want to keep LMQ like a Chinese team, when people will say, why don't you replace, like, why don't you get North American subs? Like, this was actually an issue that came up where they said, why don't you just get North American subs, when LMQ said they were looking for subs. And they said, no, we want to keep this a Chinese team. So yeah, you can say that LMQ doesn't want to represent North America. They still, at core, might say they're representing China from that perspective. But at the same time, they're here. They're making an effort to interact with the fans. They're making an effort to, like, stream. You could say that they're just doing that again to get money. But, like, I don't know. They're still in the community. They're still talking to the North American players. And I don't know. It just... To me, it doesn't matter if that's not their intent. They're still representing. They still came here and they want to do well in League of Legends in this region.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's really important to understand is that you have two different kinds of audience, right? And sometimes they mesh together, but generally there's a preference. You either have people that want to see really high-quality games, or you have people that just, are very important. Well, I'm not trying to shit talk. I'm basically saying there's people that put a lot more of their desire into the narrative. And I think the reason why LMQ is a little more, accepted than the whole Quantic situation, even though there are still, some of the people that hate it, is that Quantic literally came over and didn't really care about all the things that Kelsey mentioned. They just did want an easy spot in Worlds and claimed to it being so, essentially. Whereas like LMQ is like, just straight up textbook American dream, right? They come here, they go through the challenger, they do all the like the legal prerequisites, whatever. They try to interact with their fans, learn English, and get to Worlds, right? And like I think people that I don't see too many people complain that LMQ's like vision is just to make money off streams and stuff. They're not really interested in interacting with fans, because like when League of Legends fans grow up and become an adult, they begin to realize that nothing you do is just out of the kindness of your heart, essentially. Like, there's very few things that are, but for the most part, there's some kind of underlying underlying purpose, to help you out or help you reach a goal or something. That's just how it works. But yeah, I do think like it does depend on who wants to see narrative versus good play. And from a Riot perspective, or from Riot's perspective, I kind of understand, but it kind of sucks. Like, they have WCS, which is kind of a similar scenario, but not so much, because, I mean, it's full team-based. So they have that to go off of, and I can understand why they'd be afraid for their local audiences of each respective region. But at the same time, I do think if they do end up keeping LMQ on some kind of grandfathered rule and let them stay but not allow other teams to do the same, I fully understand that. Not a fan of it myself, because I just like to see the region improve. But if they don't do that, then I guess it's just responsible for them to help the teams that come over connect with the fans in a way and offer narrative and perspective, because that's the only way it'll be acceptable. Because if they just come over and they're just no-name Asians and people say like they're, you know, no personality, whatever, come over, then that's one thing. But if they're here and they all have personalities and people can, like, you know, make references to them, like, oh my god, Joey Zhao's so cute, or they have like the Lomo Nation thing, you know, they have this kind of marketing thing going for them, I think it's going to be a little easier to accept for most people.
I agree with you, but the thing where we come into the thing where it shakes up a little bit, like what your statement shakes up a little bit, is what is the LMQ situation? Because Team Coast is bringing in 2 high elo Koreans apparently for their solo lanes, right?
After they said that they wouldn't change the roster, after they said that they weren't going to compete in EPS anymore because they wanted to keep their secret
Sheep is going to tweet swear words at you. Be careful.
After
they're going to
after they then just got monstered.
The 2 Koreans with their world class, everyone knows that it's their world class bottom lane. And and Santorin, their top tier LCS jungler.
The guy who got replaced by Wizfood, and just saying,
class. Like,
to be fair, Mass Sheep was pretty much tearing through the challenger scene until they decided to take their break to hide their secret strategies.
Yeah,
that didn't work for them. Spoiler alert.
But then, what if these like 2 like random Koreans like never interact with fans and stuff like that? Then what does that say about the team? Like, so there has to be a set rule, and Riot has to abide by that rule. Honestly, given the fact that LMQ has been here for a full year, I think it's too late to like change much. Maybe you can make rules for the future, like, okay, LMQ is the exception, but it's too late to change. It's too late to change much, because if they do, then that really is like Riot trying to like showing that they're trying, rather than the competitive integrity, because Riot preaches about competitive integrity all the fucking time. Okay, and this is like one of the few things I agree with Richard Lewis about. Like, they preach about competitive integrity all the fucking time, but then they really don't take the steps to ensure that competitive integrity is upheld.
What do you make bullet points for that?
So, like, for example, the Gambit Gaming situation, I can't list off the top of my head, but just
for this, you're talking about?
Yeah. So just for this specific example, right? And also like with the DDoSing for the challenger scene, but for this specific example, if they forcibly remove LMQ from the NALCS, then that means that they value their fans and their viewership over competitive integrity, which is fine, which is 100% completely fine, because Riot is a company that can do whatever they want. But if that is the case, then don't go around fucking preaching about dumbass competitive integrity, because that's clearly what your company is not about. Your company is clearly about money, making money, expanding your viewer base. And again, that's completely 100% okay. You're a business, but just don't lie to your audience is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think anyone believes that they're going to eject LMQ. I think we're all pretty much of the consensus that there's nothing that they can do. It's now about the future if they're going to implement any of these rules like we see in China. So here's the flip side of this question. So now you guys have kind of discussed it from LMQ's side. What do you guys think of the Korean experiment that happened in China? Do you care for the Korean players? And what about, like, can you guys see the threads between these 2 situations and how they might intersect a little bit? I mean, why do you hate the Korean players? Because I feel like majority consensus from us is that the Korean experiment failed in China. Why do we think it failed? Why did we dislike those players? And so does this have any reflection on LMQ and NA?
Before everywhere. That's what I don't like.
Yeah, no, but before Michael goes on, I just want to say the definition of failing for the Korean experiment is what is our definition? Because we have to set that. Is it not making worlds? Is it like not getting above 8th place?
Is it not making playoffs?
Is it not making playoffs? Like, what's the definition of fail?
I think the playoffs is like clear cut bad, but I mean worlds is, I don't know. If you're gonna bring over Koreans, you probably are aiming for worlds.
If these organizations like Starhorn Royal Club are implying to their fans that we have an easy ticket to Worlds because we recruited these Korean players, then anything less than that is a failure. So technically, World Elite has been a failed experiment, even though I think very highly of Old B. Old B has been one of my favorite junglers in the scene for an extremely long time.
Hasn't been on the scene quite yet.
Yeah, and then so the World Elite experiment has failed. The World Elite Academy experiment has gone way off. The IG experiment has been yet to be seen, because they're a team that has only brought 1 Korean, and from what I see, he like streams a lot. I think he interacts with the viewer base. He speaks Mandarin, so like this guy, I consider him an exception. And then we have the Starhorn Royal.
now.
yeah, and like with the Starhorn Royal Club crew, the super hot royal crew, I think the jury's left to be seen, because I'm convinced that if Starhorn Royal Club gets, so they're gonna get second, right? So that means they're gonna get placed with either a Korean team, so they're gonna get placed with the #1 Korean team, #1 North American team, and the #1 European team, right? So either TSM or Cloud9, then Alliance, and then Samsung Blue, right? Then should those happen, they're definitely not. I don't think they're going to beat Cloud9, Alliance, or Samsung Blue. I honestly don't, from my heart of hearts, because I think that Cloud9, like those kinds of teams, can prepare extremely well for a team like Starhorn World Club. So so automatically they're knocked to the second spot. So if they don't get out of the group stages at Worlds, then that's really a failed experiment for Starhorn World Club. Just because of the kind of shit that they were selling their fan base, like, oh, we got an easy ticket to the World Championships. Oh, because our roster that went to the finals didn't get the championship, we're going to upgrade our roster by making these moves. So I think, again, it's the message you're sending to your audience, and if that is a lie, then yeah, you can consider that a failed experiment. So the jury's still out on IG, the jury's still out on Starhorn World Club.
Kelsey, Michael?
I think Starhorn Royal Club, like the standard that, I think we can safely say that the standard that they've set for themselves, they won't achieve. And that standard, according to INSEC, is that he will consider staying in China if a Starhorn Royal Club makes the finals, I think it was, of the World. It was either the semifinals or the finals, but either one, I feel is pretty unrealistic. And I don't think that they'll get that far. I think it's very safe to say that they will not make the semifinals of the World Championship. So if that's their standard for success, then no, the Korean experiment hasn't succeeded. Whether or not INSEC will actually go back to Korea after that,
how do you feel about it? Like, we just talked about how these players come over, they're interacting with the fans. LMQ deserves to be here, but then we go and we be like, oh, these Koreans, they need to get out. They're B-rate Koreans. They're ruining our teams. Why isn't Sikkim on the roster? So that's what I'm trying to gear for.
Okay, fine. If you want me to give the World Elite speech, I'm really unhappy with the way World Elite turned out, because I feel like it caused a player like Wei Xiao to retire prematurely. I feel like obviously you can argue against this, but I think that had Sikkim and Ross stayed on the roster, they would have qualified for
Worlds
playoffs.
They would have qualified for Worlds. That roster would have been better.
Good. I think they would have qualified for Worlds for sure. But
Starhorn World Club. It would have been Starhorn World Club, OMG, EDG, World Elite.
I think that team. Yeah, I do think that team would have gone to Worlds, but I can pretty confidently say that they would have at least gone to playoffs, and that both Xiaomei and Wei Xiao cited in their retirement statements that they decided to retire when they failed to qualify for the playoffs. And when they realized they had no chance of going to the Season 4 World Championships. So, yeah, I'm kind of upset about that, because I feel, obviously, I can't be proven wrong in this scenario, because we'll never go back in time and see the Sukin World Elite team, because obviously that team would still have the problem in the 2v2 meta, with Conan being unable to roam anymore, their bot lane's still losing to things, but they wouldn't have the issue with the communication, with some of the issues with the jungler. Their mid laner doing poorly in a lot of matchups. So I think that their team fighting looking like honestly really awful in the LPL context. So I think that kind of upsets me, and from that perspective, the fact that we made potentially like a top 5 all-time player of League of Legends retire prematurely when he was still good, when there are people still debating, like, is he as good as Name? I don't know. That kind of makes me feel as if it was an awful failure. It was a devastating failure. Yeah. Old B has to become the best jungler in the world for it to not be a failure. That's...
Michael?
Old boy.
Yeah, I mean... it's bad, man. Like, cause okay, if like Starhorn Royal Club doesn't make it to Worlds, and we're talking about failure in the context of making it to Worlds being success, then like look how many teams with Korean imports like didn't make it. You have like Starhorn Royal Club, you have both the Brazilian squads, K Team and pain. And then, like, it's just bad, dude.
Is this simply, though, like, are we upset because these are not good enough players? Like, would this be the same translated if, you know, someone like Dade, like Flame, like, you know, the top-tier Koreans? I mean, is this an issue that you have talent to pick from, so why aren't you picking from that talent as opposed to bringing over these washed-up players?
It's like, why would you bring up these old-school Korean players when individual talent is not your issue and it will, like, hurt communication? Well, these are the things we brought up in the beginning.
Is that the difference in
still happened
with LMQ?
I just don't know.
Is this an issue that these players are better and they're just, like Cubo said, they're just coming over and pub stomping their way to Worlds? Or is this an issue that, you know, we have... I mean, people make the statement all the time, like, where's the... I personally believe that there's talent in the challenger scene for North America, but a lot of people seem to think that otherwise. I mean, is this an issue that North America doesn't have the talent, that we have to outsource it? That we can't home grow it? I mean, this is a valid argument that EU and NA fans are constantly having. Oh, TSM's only good because, you know, they have 2 Europeans and a Korean. I mean, is this a valid...
Well, I do think that LMQ's purpose of going over was ambiguous. I mean, obviously, maybe they did want an easier shot at Worlds or whatever you call it.
Of course they did.
They also wanted to escape the bullshit they're going through right now and make a life for the players, you know? So it's that too. But I don't know. I think they've helped improve the region. So I mean, I don't really give a shit because the play is better. But
that's true. Pay them, but I feel like the fact that the Koreans have been in the scene and we've had like these junglers doing these different pathing, we've had these teleports. Like the teleport play, I think from Hanlabong or Kong has been like really interesting and I think really instructive, even on a team like World Elite Academy. So I wrote an article earlier this year that the teams that will benefit the most from the Koreans, the Korean imports, are the teams that are retaining their communication. So the full Chinese teams that are at the top of the standings will benefit from being able to learn from and to interact with these without like taking a hit to their communication. And I think that we still see EDG and OMG at the top of the standings, and they have improved over the split. We can argue that it's not because of the interaction, that it's from other outside factors like reviewing VODs, like scrimming other Korean teams, but I mean, there's that to discuss. And also we have to go back to the reason why these coaches, and it's not just like the Korean coaches, Hero and Vaikal, but also TT for OMG has even said, who is a Chinese coach, has even said that they see value in the Korean players for their work ethic because they have this drive to be the best instead of realizing that they can make more money streaming. And the players in the Chinese scene have to want to be the best by nature and not want to retire and not want to start just streaming full-time in order to stay in Chinese competitive League of Legends, because the disparity in the income that they can make between being on a team and being not on a team and just streaming all the time is pretty large. So that's why part of why they find these Korean imports very attractive as well.
So pushing away from this, I think we've kind of covered this around unless you guys have any closing thoughts. We were supposed to have a moment of silence, or at least some form of it, for Wei Xiao and Salme's retirement.
Oh my god.
I think you guys... I'll just give it to the floor. I think you guys covered Wei Xiao's pretty well, at least Kelsey did. I don't know if Hubo and Drexen, you guys have anything to add, but Salme, we kind of overlooked. So, who wants to take it first? I feel like a relative just died.
There's so much that's interesting about the situation, because these guys were both near the top of their field, and Wei Xiao arguably is the top of their field. They've been loyal to World Elite for like so long, so they're like they're like the antithesis to NA, where the old guard is just bringing everybody down, and they're there for marketing, and they need to fucking go and have other new talent come in to help the teams go somewhere. Like, yeah, Wu Zhao and Kame are like insanely marketable, but they're also really good. They're also like top class, and especially Wei Zhao, and it's like, man, it's really sad. Like, if you just really think what he's accomplished, like, I mean, I think IPL 5 was the biggest eye opener for everybody. But
people don't even know that tournament exists.
Yeah, well, even up to this day, and that's a shame because it was the best international tournament of all time. So it's really sad. But
Wei Zhao like what's the guy name? Gao Zhechen or something like that.
Yeah.
Gao motherfucking Wei Zhao.
This fucking Wei Zhao.
This guy was so fucking good. Like all throughout his career. Like I don't think people. I hate like so people were like saying like oh like Name was like the like people. I saw people do this like buy 15. You have like $15 buy players and shit like that. Like people were going oh like only Name is the obvious choice. No, I would have gone fucking Wei Zhao because this was when people like the players were at their peak, right? Or were considered at their peak. Wei Zhao, in his peak, was 2 times better, like was at a level 2 times higher than what Name is right now. Like
relative to the
relative to the rest of the world. People don't realize like and I love like the reporters and stuff like that, but like I never hear like famous people like Monty or Thorin or any of the other famous personalities like talk about Wei Zhao. Like people like don't understand like they must not understand how fucking good Wei Zhao was and how good he is right now. Like
China doesn't have the attention. I think a lot of Western fans probably have zero idea how good Wei Zhao ever was.
Wei Zhao was the best. He is the best. Like it's really hard to conceive how much he brought to the game, especially in IPL 5 and like the 6 months leading up to IPL 5 because World Elite had barely lost a tournament. Like it's fucking Wei Zhao, like I'm about to like tear up because like Wei Zhao was like so good, and I like if like on that like list right there where they said like oh you can pick like players for I would have paid $6 for motherfucking Wei Zhao because that's how good he was. Like he could carry his team. I know Mike is really in love with Messiah and how good he is. I think that Wei Zhao did a lot of carrying.
Well, at the same time, Wei Zhao without Messiah to tell him what to do, I think what discovered is really awful.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I just like Messiah because he innovated something, not because he's the best mid laner ever.
Wei Zhao in like pure skill and like the things he did in the bottom lane was unparalleled. And Name doesn't fucking touch the dirt on his shoes. Like Wei Zhao is so fucking good. Like I don't know what else to say. Like I don't know what else to say. Wei Zhao's the god.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The All-Star World Elite roster, not 2 All-Stars, but just the top prime was FCZF, Wei Zhao, Messiah, Clear Love, and Xiaomei. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the roster that we're going with.
Yeah, the support before FCZF wasn't bad either. I like that guy. I forgot what his name was, but the support before FCZF wasn't bad. But like. So, like, I was writing a paper on Wei Zhao right before the whole shit went downhill because of World Elite, and it didn't feel right to publish it given how badly World Elite was playing. But, like this guy, like, came in, like, he got introduced to the scene because Messiah noticed him, and Messiah was like, yo, this guy is, like, the real deal. We need to bring him in. And ever since then, like, when have we ever seen, like, Wei Zhao get angry on, like, live television or, like, on like, a live stream or during a game or something like that? Like, all I see is, like, when I see Wei Zhao, he always has that Mona Lisa face, like, a small little smile. He treats his fans right. He's always, like, kind. Like, Xiaomei, too, to an extent, because Xiaomei was even more popular. And then
Xiaomei was known for, like, taking time to add people on his account and actually, like, help them play the game, like Odira's style, but, like, into the future.
These guys were like so good to their fans, so loyal to the brand, were always respectful, like, and really just in terms of like how good they were in the game, what they brought to like social media, how they controlled their online personas. Really, no one did it like Wei Zhao and Xiaomei. And I apologize to Xiaomei because I'm not giving him the credit he deserves, but just my heart is filled with Wei Zhao right now.
Both of them have made the decision, right, to stay with the World Elite brand, which means they're sacrificing a lot of the income they could be making from streaming to like help continue to support World Elite after they retired.
Which Messiah did the same thing.
Yeah, and Messiah did the same thing. Like they're still, and I think that's part of why people see FCZF and Clearlove as traitors. From like I don't want to bag on them, of course, because I respect their decisions too. As traitors and like as betrayers to the brand, because like Messiah and Xiaomei and Wei Zhao have been so loyal. Like you have to think about the decision making that Hero had, like what he did to the team, and they just like they still tried really hard. They did like well.
Let's also back it up with context for what you're saying to give that weight. For those who don't know, so EDG and Invictus Gaming, that's run by billionaires. So very rich men own those teams. World Elite is completely supported on fan donations. So think about
sponsors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about how massive that organization is. Think of the fan base for it. The fact that these players, like that is what gives that so much impact, is the fact that that's how that organization is run. The fact that the players are loyal enough to stick through with that and to help make that face. So now, Mike, as I want to cater it towards you, a lot of the new roster lineup, you can cover it. There's a lot of issue that you just lost the most popular player in League of Legends. Yes, he will stay on and he'll stream, but he won't be playing. We're talking about Xiaomei. Of course, Wei Xiao is the poster child, the brand of World Elite. How does World Elite make a successful comeback from this? They rely on fan donations. They're now bringing over more Prime Optimist Koreans. Of course, arguably probably the better ones this time around.
Fucking Prime Optimist.
That's
true. They are bringing the better ones.
I have a feeling they don't recover, and I say that because the only one I've really paid too much attention to in the entire roster is Old B, and like I just still don't think it was anything compared to the roster they had for spring, and certainly like the thing is like, okay, Messiah was pretty popular, but Wei Zhao and Xiaomei were fucking huge, and since this is like a fully team supported roster, it's like fuck. Like, what are people gonna like? There's no original identity to this team that's been dominating for like 3 years plus, and I just like okay, wait, like World Elite's throwing this whole new roster together, right? But there's rapidly improving infrastructure and team play and even upcoming LSPL teams from China. Like, where are they going to place? Like, and who are they going to be better than? Because I wouldn't argue they'd be better than like even Young Glory or LGD.
They're not going to be better than
Yeah,
King.
they're better than King, Young Glory, LGD. Like, think about that. Like, this new team gotten together with this Young Glory team that plays 7th is drastically improving their team play and just needs to work on mechanics and their AD player. I could see World Elite dropping out, like, legitimately. Like, that's a legitimate concern I have.
Okay.
If you think Old B can fucking carry like a scrub ass World Elite team, like if you think Old B can carry like Ninja and Conan, like that alone is like the hay that breaks the donkey's back.
No one on that team is mechanically the best in the world.
According to,
in my opinion.
Name the roster.
Yeah, so according to Sukham's stream, like he's the old mid laner from the spring roster that we were talking about, who was asked to rejoin the team and turn them down. Says that the roster that they're planning on right now, and this could definitely change because we have like 6 months before the next LPL split, is going to be Aluka from Positive Energy.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
Aluka, because Rua came out and said that he only wanted to stay on the team until they found a replacement jungler, which they found. Old B.
That team's done. You just started with Aluka. We're already done. Like it's time.
You should have started with Amazing J.
Ninja.
Amazing J. Ninja.
And
who's the AD?
Alan, not Alan from OMG, but Alan from World Elite Academy before they got SMLZ. So that Alan.
I'm curious why they didn't just bump SMLZ up.
And because World Elite Academy is the better team.
Yeah.
At this point. Alan and
Conan?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my lord.
Exactly. And like,
that roster's pretty bad.
I'm thinking then, like, who is this team going to be better than? Obviously not the top 3. Not going to be better than IG. Not going to be better than.
I could see this roster
like
dropping out of
literally
LPL and then Ellis dropping out of LSPL.
Aluka and Conan on the same team.
And, like, people have to understand how much of a travesty this is, because this is, like, okay, so imagine if, like, you were fucking donating, and there wasn't this, like, solomid.net to back your favorite team, right? You're donating so that Team Solo Mid can flourish, right? And then just, like, fucking, I don't know, like, Bjergsen, Dyrus, and, like Bjergsen, Dyrus, and, like, Wild Turtle just peace.
I'll retire. And then you get, like...
Do you still want to fund them? And where do you think they're going to be? And then they're going to get, like, fucking, like,
world-class bot lane and Sheep and what's his name?
Yeah. Sheep,
might as well get
Ashley and Vile Rose join, right? Or something. Like, that's literally what's happening here, but on an exponentially bigger scale. It's really bad.
This is pretty bad. That's actually really bad.
And it's funny because World Elite has gotten so many Western fans into Chinese League of Legends. Like, depending on how old you are in League of Legends time, that sounded retarded. World Elite got a lot of us into Chinese League of Legends. We'll go out and say that. So, like, this was the team that was dominating in IPL 5 era and made a lot of people pay attention to China, even though China at the time was really, really hard to pay attention to because of the limited amount of English coverage. Unless you followed Drexen from GoToGamers.net.
I was the only white guy watching in 2013.
Leader of the multi-talented team.
No English League of Legends coverage outside of like the few international tournaments. So
yeah, nobody knew me last year, so basically it was just in the dark.
I knew you as the leader of an international team of multi-talented writers. Dedicated to bring.
Well, his resume, read it off.
Building sandwiches or something.
Dude,
he's a sandwich maker.
Aluka and Conan don't even deserve the World Elite name, dude. They don't deserve to have that fucking tag next to their ID. That's how terrible they are.
Dude, World Elite is like, oh my god, they're like this fucking gem. Like you can't. It's like, man, the only people that have competed with World Elite's win streak was SKT, right? And they're both legendary in their own right. But you can't just take this team that has a ridiculous fucking legacy and do this. Like, why are you doing this to me?
This is like one of the biggest like travesties that like I've seen in League of Legends.
Okay.
Aluka and who I've never heard of Allen. I've never heard of Allen.
He was the AD carry for World Elite Academy before they got SMLC.
You could tell me that all day and I still never heard of him.
Okay.
Heard of like the hell is this guy?
We're gonna.
It's depressing. I really want them to surprise me, but at this point, I have no connection to World Elite, and just seeing a list of Chinese teams in LPL in their standings without WE on that list just fucking scares me. Just seeing that like gone, it's just like what? What
that
the fuck?
moment when EDG has more World Elite members than World
Yeah.
Elite.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let's talk regionals since we're talking EDG. Because that was the whole point of this episode. We got sidetracked with we finally had a World Elite episode, guys. We did it. Congratulations.
We talked about. I'm sorry, World Elite fans. We didn't mean any of it. By the way, World Elite is still the best brand.
Yes.
In the world.
Oh my god.
So Edward Gaming is confirmed for just to break it down. So the World's qualifiers has been drafted, so we know what the lineups are going to be. Edward Gaming is for sure going to Worlds, but they are up in the air whether they're going to get first seed or second seed. So
that's
first
so
things
stupid.
first.
That's play another best of 3 to get their first seed.
With OMG.
Yep.
That's terrible.
With
that's
I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly.
No.
It's too.
EDG's gonna win, but then EDG's gonna win, but still, like they shouldn't have to. They won the two splits. They should be able to have the first seed. That's such bullshit that they're not having the first seed.
I mean,
could you say the same thing about the OGN summer season?
I don't honestly have that big of a problem with it. Meh.
What I want to get into is I want to break down each matchup. So the first round matchup is going to be OMG versus Invictus Gaming. Second round is going to be Starhorn Royal Club versus LGD. So let's start IG OMG.
LGD.
No, IG OMG.
About this matchup, like you have a 25% chance that we're gonna have a good game. I'm just gonna like the first game is gonna be good. Let's just throw that out there, like. Because you have about a 50-50 coin flip that either of these teams are going to show up to play. Like, let's be completely real. Invictus Gaming is probably the most random team in China. Like, or in the world, really. I wouldn't be surprised if they qualified for Worlds and then they ended up, like, not making it out of their bracket because they lose to, like, TPA and Dark Passage, but then they win against, like, Samsung Blue or something. I don't fucking know.
I want to see IG.
But, like, OMG has been super inconsistent, and you just watch them in their matches, and even when they win, they don't smile. When they lose, they don't look sad. They just constantly look like they don't give a shit, and they're just, like, playing random games.
I want to see IG.
It's just... I feel like whoever wins the first game is going to win the series. I don't know.
I don't think so, but... I want to see IG run TSM comps, though.
Because I feel like OMG is the more adaptable team, but they need more than a best of 3 to adapt. And
why do you want TSM comps on IG? And define TSM comp.
Because from what I saw, because TSM comps have mostly been there are team fight comps centered around having assassin at the mid lane. So you can have like Fizz or Yasuo or Zed at the mid lane, or even Ahri. And then there are also the compositions where they played like Lulu top, Nunu jungle, Orianna mid, and like Braum support or something like that. And just put and you could put like Kid on Tristana and see how that works. Just try to play to your strengths. Obviously, like Youngsu has gotten apparently, from what I saw in either I think it was XCS, Youngsu has gotten significantly better, especially in terms of his teleport usage and recognizing the ebb and flow of creep waves and how they're pushing across the map. But at the same time, I still want to see them play very directed comps where they know what they're supposed to do at all times, where they know how they're supposed to set up their zones of control, where they know what the objectives they have to garner to win the game, and where they can just play a late game team composition and do their best to get to that late game point. Like I don't think IG can operate using an intricate, really smart composition that has a lot of win conditions. I think you should just give them one goal, one specific team comp, and then let them fly with it. So,
Jackson?
I don't know about keeping IG on a side of comp, honestly. I always felt like that was their strong point. He's always been switching it up, but I feel like I feel like IG has this like secret plan, and like the IG coach has infiltrated the quarters of OMG, and now he's gonna fuck with them. Yeah, exactly. And now he's gonna make them match
we're going to have
as
the
possible
most
for IG.
Random bullshit picks and bans phase because both of these teams have been tainted by TT. Like, oh god.
On bans.
Obviously, for people that don't know, IG's coach is now coaching OMG, and ever since they've lost things like 2-0 to Young Glory and shit like that, pretty much.
So
OMG is going to first pick Jax, and then IG is going to pick, like,
what? Can we talk about that shit? So, I was in a chat the other day, and now they're like, what was Tyler saying? He was like, I don't understand why Koreans don't recognize that there's more than different regions have their top lane meta picks. And he was like going through, he's like, in EU they play Aatrox top. I was like, well, Freddy plays Aatrox top. And like in China they play Jax. Who in China plays Jax other than Cola?
And
Cola,
17.
And then like
17.
And when Going is against him, he for some reason feels compelled to first pick Jax when he's against Star1.
I have no idea why Going was like, I can't beat this. I can't beat Cola if he's on Jax.
Cola's too strong. Pepsi is the inferior brand.
Did Koro ever play Jax, or did he just play Aurelia the whole time?
Kale, Aurelia.
Yeah, he played Jax before, but I don't think he's played Jax recently.
Not in the playoffs?
Not in the playoffs.
Well, as far as hypercarry go, Koro and Going have played mostly Aurelia and Kale. Yeah. Cola plays Jax. And now Jax is recognized as a Chinese top lane pick, and that hurts my soul.
I actually looked it up, and apparently Koro is 9-1 on Jax, so that's a thing.
Yeah.
So he's pretty good at Jax, he just doesn't,
just doesn't play it, but it was, think of when it came out this split.
He's also in a top 10 team in the world, like, potentially top 5 team in the world, so
that's true.
He has a lot of help.
The world is not ready for this man's trundle man.
Okay. Getting back on topic of Invictus Gaming and OMG.
Sorry.
What we talked about the bans. Like literally, break me through this game. What are the bans gonna look at? What are the win conditions for either team?
I can't tell you. I have
it's gonna be 6 throwaway bans.
The most random matchup in the entire.
But is it random because it's OMG sucks at picks ban phase, or is it random because it's fucking Invictus Gaming?
Both.
Both.
They're probably gonna
that's
ban
why
a bunch
random.
of supports.
Like with just one of those, it wouldn't be the most random.
I think they're gonna ban.
I think they're
gonna ban out like shit.
Yasuo, Maokai.
Yasuo, Maokai, shit like that.
So they probably ban, like Red side will. I think Purple side will definitely ban like
what do you ban against Invictus
Alistar,
Gaming?
like Orianna or something like that, and then
what do you guys?
It depends who wants to give up the Yasuo, because the Yasuo is probably going to be a first rotation pick for both sides, since Tatai and Cool have shown such adept prowess at playing that Yasuo, the Unforgiven. So like,
what do you guys ban against IG? How do you deal with this team? I mean, IG's been off the radar. They weren't in playoffs, so we haven't seen them for a full 2.5, 3 weeks. We saw them.
To kind of fuck with them, I would ban like Thresh, Braum, and like
Kitty's Thresh for sure.
Yeah,
I would ban Shyvana just because I feel like
Thresh, Braum, Shyvana sounds good. But
Youngsu
then that's only
kind of got dunked by the Gragas nerfs, and so but he still like plays really good Shyvana. So
you don't think he can pick up Maokai?
Well, I think Maokai is just going to be a default ban.
I haven't, like, I've watched some of the VODs from the XES tournaments, and they haven't really been playing.
You would think that, but every single time I look at a professional game, I see that fucking tree in the game, and I'm like, what?
How did this happen?
I just want to say that if you look at recent XES results, Invictus Gaming is the best team in China, and Edward Gaming and OMG are literally shit, so... Because EDG and OMG have both gotten, like, 2-0'd and 1-1'd in XCS recently, so...
Well, the difference is EDG and OMG were competing in playoffs, whereas IG was just kind of tooling around. But
so, now, like, I feel like we're hyping up IG because they did well in XCS, but at the same time, like, XCS obviously isn't the end-all be-all.
We can't just hype them up because they're Invictus?
They split even in their last matchup with IG, or with OMG as well, and that was an OMG that was looking a little bit better, too, I feel.
Yeah, that was... But at the same time, that same OMG was, like, one of the only teams that 2-0'd IG also, so...
Well, Kelsey, let's think historically. What was the last time that OMG and IG met in a best-of-series for playoffs?
The last time they
happened.
They met in a best-of-3, they didn't have Cool. And literally every other single time that OMG and IG have met in a best-of-3 where they had Cool, OMG won. No, they didn't have Cool in the best-of-3 series.
They didn't have Cool in the best-of, but they had Cool when they got into playoffs. It was his Nidalee play that was awful.
Yeah, but that was like, everyone agrees that Cool is not the same Cool. Like, let's be clear.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
But
yeah, I don't even want to predict. I don't really care about that series. I think.
Oh, rude.
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if IG won. I really wouldn't be surprised, because
Why?
We just haven't seen. No one's like seen them in a long time. Like,
are we riding OMG into the ground?
Okay, well, what I'm doing is I'm looking at how IG plays when it matters. And then I'm looking at OMG's most recent performance in like one of the most important games in their careers.
In best-of-3s.
And I'm just like, okay. And if you look at the historical playoffs between IG and OMG, and then you look at how IG like has been playing compared to OMG relatively to like playoffs, like yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't see it. I could be completely wrong. OMG decides to show up as a different team. Like,
okay, well, let's
like
assume.
I said, the only best-of-3 where Invictus Gaming has ever beat OMG was the one where they had Shiyong, so...
Dada 7 to carry like no other.
Well, now they have Dada 7, so who's... Although they will have Shiyong.
IG, like, the most recent
Wait,
best-of-3
will Shiyong be playing as their support for the regionals?
Besides, no.
Or will it be Dada 7?
Shiyong is not going to join the team until after Worlds.
Okay.
So...
Syndra
if
support.
He joins it at all.
Syndra support, LeBlanc support.
This is beyond the point.
Zig support.
Zig support.
The last time IG and OMG faced in a best-of-3 where OMG had Cool, they actually had Dada Tricky Boy. Like, this was in the last...
Just call him Dada, so we don't get...
Yeah, Dada 7. But he was called Tricky Boy in that game, in that series.
Yeah.
So they actually 2-0'd IG with Tricky Boy. Like, it was technically a 2-1 because of another situation where IG was in the upper bracket and they had 1 point. No one cares. They 2-0'd Invictus Gaming with Dada 7, like this exact same lineup. Of course, IG had a different lineup. They had PDD.
Okay. Give me
no one cares.
The board. Who's winning? Just this bullet point. Just go. Who's winning? OMG, IG. OMG? He says IG, you say OMG. Kelsey, you're the tiebreaker.
I want to say IG.
Okay, IG moves on. OMG gets bumped down. LGD.
But again, if OMG are playing at even like a peak of their some regular season,
so weird.
Then OMG will win. But it's wait,
don't go. So you two say IG. I said OMG, right?
Yeah, but you can't be static about this.
Mike, shut the fuck up, man.
He was like, it's on record when they win.
They're literally the two most inconsistent teams, like in the top 6. Okay.
Yeah, I think Dada has some time to play. I think he'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, Dada is an issue on the mechanical level, but OMG's always been about cohesion. Like, so if they had the cohesion, I mean, OMG has done well with Dada in the past. It's just they need the cohesion. So when they're all like split up and they're all like playing like individually and not really focusing, you see what happens. The EDG happens, and yeah. So I mean, it just depends what OMG decides to show up and if they get their shit together.
Okay.
LGC Star Horn Road Club, because this is the set I'm very excited for. This is the set I'm waiting for.
Obviously, I don't think Dada is a 7 if I'm... Dada 7 is the problem.
Kelsey, we are talking about LGD and Starhorn Royal Club. You will focus.
LGD is gonna lose. No one cares.
He will go.
I have LGD taking a set over Starhorn Royal Club.
I know you do.
Why?
Nope.
Why do you think that LGD will beat Starhorn? They've like there's zero evidence to support this. Have they ever beaten Starhorn Royal Club?
Yeah, they went 1-1 in both of their sets in the regular season.
In the sets, but in the playoffs, they faced...
No, they got dumpstered.
Exactly.
So.
The reason why I have LGD over... I have no reasons for having LGD over Starhorn Royal Club. This is
okay, I love Invictus.
this is my wishful thinking prediction, and I think that I just hope that I think LGD, when they get the right team fights, they can do a lot of good things. So hopefully PYL and Wayless will be able to control the match, and they'll be able to ensure that LGD gets the right team fights and help XQ and 17 put their carry pants on. And I think the meta has shifted in a way in which kind of favors support that ward a lot and just zone, and you don't need anything. So we might want to consider putting Chuan on Nunu or Kha'Zix and see how he does with those champions. And I haven't seen Chuan's Nunu.
I'm glad that you brought up Chuan, because to me the Starhorn Royal Club matchup comes down to two factors. It comes down to Insec versus Chuan, and I know we give Insec a lot of shit, but Chuan is awful. And it comes down to XQ PYL versus Uzi and Zero. And unfortunately, as much as I love PYL and XQ, I do not think that they're up to the level of Zero and Uzi.
The thing is, the XQ and PYL were do well in lane against Uzi and Zero, and then they do like literally the most stupid shit. Like they'd like go in and try to like tower dive or go in for a really weird play, and they get like so aggressive in lane sometimes, and when they really don't have to. So hopefully they fix that. But I really do think that if Chuan plays a jungler like J4, like maybe even like Lee Sin, Nunu, Kha'Zix, I think that their LGD has the potential to bring out the upset. Pool. Yeah, that's true.
It's a lot of. You guys have putting in a lot of games.
I need LGD to win, please.
I would love to see Wayless go to Worlds.
Yeah.
Just to see what Western teams would do against him. Builds Lysandra, Spectral Wraith. Let's go. 15-minute Baron.
I feel like, Western fans are unprepared for how good the mid laners in China are right now.
No one expects.
Maybe they're paying attention to AD carries and they're just going to get dumpstered, I think. Well, we'll see. But I think...
Well, I think that the Western teams will probably educate themselves enough. But
yeah, they will.
The Western fans are going to be surprised.
So. Yeah, I know. Like there are like multiple Western teams who are already taking steps to like find out what...
Well, I think
what's going on in the Chinese scene and in the Taiwanese
attention that
scene.
Cool got really kind of opened up the door to looking at other mid laners. But just to be clear, Wayless. I'm even gonna put Korn up there. Korn, I think, is a strong mid laner.
If he gets like
Orianna,
one of 4 champions.
If he gets one of 3 champions, yeah.
I would
Orianna,
say 4.
Fizz, and what else? Orianna,
Fizz, Yasuo, and Ziggs.
Yasuo, not his Ziggs. His Ziggs.
His Ziggs still does well. Like I still think his Ziggs is fine.
I don't think his Ziggs is good. I agree with Orianna, Yasuo, Fizz. I 100% agree with that. But his Ziggs is...
Drexen, what do you think of the LGD Starhorn Royal Club matchup? What do you think is going to happen?
I can't think of an area where Starhorn loses. That's my biggest problem. Like, okay, yeah, their bottom lane is extraordinary and all the stuff, but Starhorn's is more extraordinary. I guess...
Is Wayless our X factor there? If they're able to ban out Korn and Wayless gets a good roam?
I do think that's the
that's the X factor, but at the same time, in like
a Starhorn Royal Club.
Like if Korn gets his champions, he can still style on Wayless. Like he was.
Well, that's just a matter of
doing that
playing pick and bans properly, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, LGD needs to play pick and bans properly. Like I feel like Korn on his top champions is actually better than Wayless on his top champions, but Wayless is overall better in terms of like how he pressures the map and his champion pool. So. And
Starhorn's cohesion in the last, I mean, in the last playoffs were actually pretty good, and that's why they took OMG to the 5th set, even though OMG were looking like okay. Not the OMG that faced EDG, because I don't know what happened there, but I just like, I feel like they can just shut down Chuan in the jungle, and then like they don't have too much of a threat in the actual lanes. I don't know. That's how I feel. But I mean, if Wayless can pull off some kind of miracle, then LGD will win the set. And I do want LG to go to Worlds. I wanted LGD to go to Worlds so bad.
I want LGD to
I
go to
can't.
Worlds.
I can't see I can't like if I weigh up like a positive and negative. Like I can't see a list of what Starhorn can do worse than LGD enough to warrant LGD to win a best of 5 set.
You guys are wrong. You guys are non-believers. Just you don't have faith.
I'm gonna go with Hugo.
The Church of XQ.
I want LGD to win.
I'm not saying I don't want LGD to win. It's a matter of I don't think that's going to happen.
Because I feel like LGD would actually do really well.
No. But see,
Starhorn knows if they don't make it to Worlds that their fucking jungler's gonna piece.
No. See, but here's
far
what we're doing.
in Worlds at that. So they have a drive, man.
Wait, Hugo.
I just want to turn this point around. Like, see, here's what we're doing. This may not be like true for you guys, but one of the reasons why I do want to see Starhorn World Club like not go to Worlds is because I want to see the Korean experiment fail, and I want to have a Chinese LCS.
Oh, yeah, me too, dude.
No. Even though I'm not even Chinese, even though I don't have like that many connections to the LPL, I want to see the Chinese teams win. Because they're from the Chinese LPL, I want to see them represent their country, which is a little bit funny.
And now we've gone full circle back to LMQ.
No. This is what I'm saying though. So like back to the original point. I don't blame NA fans for wanting to send NA teams to the theoretically NA teams that have had a large history of branding within the North American region. I don't mind sending them to the World Championships. This is originally what we're talking about, and I think it's 100% valid. No reason to flame anybody for, even though they don't word it correctly or have exacerbated opinions, no reason to hate on anybody for sharing that kind of sentiment, I think.
Cut. Okay, so I think majority thinks that Starhorn Royal Club will move on. So now we have Invictus Gaming, Starhorn Royal Club moving on. Let me bring up the brackets to see what happens next. So it will then be Starhorn Royal Club versus Invictus Gaming. Whoever wins, effectively, if you win 2 sets in a row, you're guaranteed the spot into Worlds. You earn it. Invictus Gaming, Starhorn Royal Club. Who wins that?
Starhorn. Invictus Gaming.
Again, I'm going to contrast what I want versus what I think is going to happen. Obviously, I wanted IG to be successful for so long, but I'll go ahead and say that I do think Starhorn Royal Club will take it, but I don't think it'll be a clean sweep by any means. I think it'll be very close best of 5. I hope. I hope to God, please.
I think...
What is IG's X factor? Where, match me up with the puzzle pieces. Where does Starhorn win? Where does IG win?
IG wins by Zitai either pulling out some crazy maybe playing a real champion, but maybe not playing a real champion. And then
I feel like IG's bottom lane is really undervalued.
Yeah, man.
Their bottom lane is really strong.
Kitty's fucking sucks.
And in 2v2, Kitty's is really good. And I feel like Kitty's actually...
Oh, that's true. In a 2v2, Kitty's is solid. That's true.
And Kitty's also, I think, is one of the few players in LPL who gets disengaged at all. So.
But then I don't know. I don't think his team fighting is that good. I don't think
his ability to play Nami is actually going to help a lot in IG.
Thank God we're not in the last meta where Kitty's had to run because he was terrible then. And I still don't think he's a very good support.
Conan's 2 weeks of brilliance.
Yeah, Conan and Kitty's literally.
Kitty's is also a really good Thresh.
Yeah, he plays Thresh, he plays Nami, I think are his 2 big, and Braum. He can play Braum.
Just like Zero.
So you're thinking what, Mike? You're saying that the unexpected matchup will be Kitties versus Uzi and Zero?
No, I don't know. I don't think they'll win that lane, just because...
Uzi's gonna stomp that lane.
I do think so.
Well, we're talking about IG versus OMG, right? So.
No, we're talking about
IG versus Starhorn.
Versus IG. You guys already kicked OMG down to the losers bracket.
I thought okay, fine.
Oh my God.
I thought we were talking about where the specific semifinals teams won that we had picked. So.
I don't think it's warranted because of the strength of the champion, but I do wonder if it's possible for Kid to pull an Ezreal ban because that's what I really want to see.
You want to see him play Ezreal?
I want to see him play I want to see him play so well that it warrants an Ezreal ban, and maybe opens up something interesting for Zitai or something. I don't know.
I think that IG and Starhorn is just very, very close.
Yeah.
Actually, throughout the playoffs, they were the 2 teams with the most draws, or not the playoffs, the regular season. So they had the most 1-1 splits, and there was actually kind of a wide gap where they had a lot of 1-1 splits, and of course, when they met each other, they split 1-1, and when one team won, it was always a stomp because like Starhorn can't half-ass anything. They have to like
fully lose
snowball.
or fully win.
They have to snowball out of control, and then we saw this in their best of 5 sets against OMG, where OMG's wins were like much more tightly controlled, and Starhorn just won by pure snowball effect. Like OMG almost got back in like several of their games, and Starhorn just had struggled, could only close by like sheer brute force of the amount of gold they had swelling over their heads. Yeah, so. And I feel like IG is also a pretty snowbally team in that regard. Like, they need good leads. Though this has been less true this split.
I feel like neither of these teams can close. Like, if I think about, like, a Starhorn Royal Club versus an Invictus
so I feel
this
like
game's going to be, like, a 15-minute game, or it's going to be, like, a 72-minute game.
I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's a stomp each game is going to be a stomp. That's it.
Kibo, Michael?
Yeah, I agree with Kelsey because
yeah.
IG and Starhorn Road Club are both terrible teams from behind.
Who wins? Who's going to Worlds?
IG.
IG?
I want to say Starhorn will win.
Starhorn?
I think IG wins that matchup too.
Okay, IG is going to Worlds. How do you feel?
They're
I would
fighting
feel really.
No.
Oh god, I would love
in the best of 3 for first seed.
Wait. I thought. No, I have.
They have to win 2 sets and they go to Worlds.
I have LGD, OMG, and EDG.
But you just sent IG to Worlds.
But yeah, you just sent IG to Worlds. But no, he said that OMG was winning the first set, so he's not drinking the gold.
Oh, this is true. Okay, so Key... Well, I'm sending IG to Worlds, so IG's going to Worlds.
We're sending IG to Worlds.
We're sending IG to Worlds. Starhorn Road Club now drops down into the losers bracket. So now we're LGD versus OMG.
Give me a quick second.
I think OMG is gonna win.
Probably.
That one.
Okay, do we need to break this down? Why this will happen?
OMG has clearly shown that they're a very good team.
And I don't think OMG has lost to LGD in the history of that team.
I think OMG is very clearly the number 2 team in China, and there's nothing to dispute that. I also think that LGD is the number 3 team in China, but it's not as clear cut, so that's why I have OMG taking a very easy set over LGD.
So you guys think that LGD's only path into Worlds is they have to get into the winners bracket? Yeah? They have to stay there, otherwise
Yeah.
I feel like they can go to Worlds if they beat Starhorn somehow, and then IG beats OMG. I feel like IG is going to be the easiest team for LGD to beat.
So let's look at this on the bracket. So say OMG beats IG, so they stay in the winners bracket. So then LGD would face IG, or no, LGD would face OMG. Then they drop into the 2nd tier losers bracket. IG would have to beat Starhorn Royal Club, and they'd have to face IG in the losers bracket for LGD. Those are the conditions that you guys are saying for LGD to make Worlds?
Yeah, if LGD makes Worlds, OMG would have to beat IG.
Okay.
Or no, yeah. Or no, wait. Starhorn would have to beat... No, LGD would have to beat Starhorn first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, we're good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't think that OMG is going to be, or we don't think that LGD is going to be OMG. Mike, do you have any you just ran in? Do you disagree with this?
No, I don't think LG is going to beat OMG.
Okay, OMG moves on. It's OMG versus Starhorn Royal Club for the last seat.
Well, according to your motherfucking predictions, my motherfucking prediction...
OMG's already there. They're just, like, kicking back.
Yeah. And I have LGD going to Worlds, whatever train they have to take. They are my soul and life and love. And I will have them at the World Championships, where I will be in college, and it will be a weekend, and I'll be sipping margaritas and watching XQ tear the shit out of Cock, motherfucker.
Starhorn beats OMG in a best of 3.
So you think Starhorn's going? You're gonna kill OMG's dreams right there? Cool's not going?
Yeah,
Michael,
really
what are you doing? Are you killing OMG? Are you just getting them on the spot?
Yep. Pretty much.
But in the playoffs, they faced Starhorn Royal Club twice, and they beat them
They
both
lost
times.
the best of 3 both times.
But
yeah.
But there's a different mentality. So I argued the same thing.
Worse.
No. I argued the same thing. Take it to the OGN finals.
OMG lost every single best of 3 in playoffs.
Take it to the OGN finals. Arrows versus Blue. I had this discussion with Cody. I was saying, KT Arrows, they never closed it out, and if it had been a best of 3, they would not have won. It took them the full best of 5, but Cody counters back, it's the mentality. They know it's a best of 5. Knowing it's a best of 3, your game plan changes. OMG is a very experienced veteran-style team. You don't give them the benefit of the doubt that knowing it's a best of 3, let's not take their history of Season 3 Worlds against Royal Club, but knowing it's a best of 3, you don't think that they can show up. You think because they lost the best of 3 in the best of 5 mentality, that automatically kills their spot at Worlds?
I think they would lose to Starhorn in a best of 3 just because I think their adaptability in best of 3 situations is not as good as their adaptability in best of 5 situations.
Yo, fuck your adaptability. It's all about who's the better team, and OMG's the better team. That's what I think.
OMG's the better team. I agree that OMG's the better team.
They're not a better team if they can't win a fucking best of 3.
They're a great team when they play as a team.
But they're not playing as a team lately.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to say that.
They're honestly one of the worst teams when they're not playing correctly.
It's really hard to say that they're not playing as a team because I feel like we saw 6... I feel like we saw at least a good 10 games at playoffs where OMG played as a team because I felt like even when they played against... and at least 10 because I feel like some of the games in the second set against Starhorn they even played as a team because they had like really good comeback potential and they almost came back. Like they took Barons. And they went like mowed down turrets and got really close to the base. It's just that Starhorn had too much of an advantage at that point. But like, it's hard to say they aren't playing as a team when I feel like they're playing as a team in more games than they aren't.
Right, but I mean when they get together and do the right thing as a team, it's often too late, and I feel like Starhorn's just gonna have too much of an edge in the laning phase.
It takes them
at least for bottom, at least.
I don't know. I disagree. I'm with you, but I think OMG's gonna take that one. I'm going GGG, IG, EDG, OMG. Good guy, Greg. Chinese team's going to Worlds.
I'm going GGG, EDG, OMG, LGD.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want OMG to go World. I do think it's possible.
But you think
OMG would still do really well at Worlds, and I still think. I'm upset because I feel like I'm not sending the teams that I think would do the best at Worlds to Worlds.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they make it too. It's like these teams have to do the best in China before they do the best representation of Worlds.
Like, I feel like LGD and OMG would do better than Starhorn and
But tell me why now. Like this opens up another avenue of conversation. Why would LGD and OMG do better on the global context than Starhorn Royal Club? What about their playstyle? What about their players?
They're smarter teams.
Yeah, and additionally, Starhorn Royal Club does a lot of things that other regions just do better that happen to work in China because it's unexperimented
You're talking about brute force winning games?
Pretty much.
I don't know. Starhorn Royal Club, like, again, the meta is really...
the bottom lane religiously.
Yeah, that's true. The meta is, like, really weird. I actually really like the place of the meta. I think the meta is, like, perfect. It's so, like, makes it for such fun games, like...
The meta bumps Starhorn Royal Club so hard. Oh my god.
Yeah, the meta really... Well, because it's like... It allows retarded people to play the game. And so, like... It's
like the opposite situation of Samsung.
It's just awful that he makes that statement and then, like, the teams that we have going to Worlds. So Hubo makes a statement, it allows the retarded people to be able to play the game. TSM Cloud9 to Worlds. Alliance Fnatic, SK to Worlds.
Wow.
ADG to Worlds.
Honestly, like, no, but if you think about it, it's like, so, like, the reason why the meta is complex now is not because of rotations around the map, OG and TSM, but then the meta is complex because there are so many different picks there are so many different picks for each role that you can use, and a lot of those picks have the ability to single-handedly change the identity of your team comp, whether, you want high damage, whether... You want a zoning composition.
You're now going in about how complex the meta is and how many different facets it have when you just made the statement that the meta is easier for dumber teams to win. So how are these two statements working together?
Because it's much easier to plan for the draft phase than it is to plan for actual in-game
Then how come so many teams bite that shit?
What do you mean, like shit the draft?
Yeah, shit. Not even just in China, but all over draft phases are going awful.
For all we know, well, Cloud9 had really good drafts.
Yes.
For all we know, LMQ doesn't have a coach. I actually thought that TSM had pretty good drafts.
I think TSM on the back half of their LMQ set was fantastic. I think Bjergsen played amazing through the entire set.
No, because for the first game we got everything. They got everything they wanted. So like.
I said back half of the split, their draft pick was amazing. I said Bjergsen through the entire split played amazing.
Yeah, and I thought Dairude was gonna tilt, but thankfully he didn't. No, but then even in the first set, I think the members of TSM all got the comfort picks that they wanted because the Fizz was planned probably, and so like I don't think their drafting was that bad. The curse curse kind of got fucked. I think a little bit.
We lost him. That dorm room internet.
Pretty good.
Cuba, take a knee for a second. You'll come back.
Yeah.
I think he was talking about Curse Cloud9 in the pick ban phase.
Yeah. So I don't want to derail this into North American LCS too hard.
What, you don't want to talk about Curse? We know who's going from. We now know for sure that it's TSM Cloud9.
Can we talk about King and Snake, for God's sake?
Oh my god.
They're going to be in LPL next year. We need to talk about them.
Yeah, but Worlds is coming up. We have plenty of time to talk about.
Can we just acknowledge that they're going to be in there? Okay,
Snake and King are going to LPL.
Oh, I also on that topic, if we're just not going to veer on that path for very long, I do want to point out that I think the funny thing that's really funny, or the interesting thing that's really funny about the current amateur scene in China is last split, everybody hyped the shit out of LPL teams. And they're still bottom 2. But now that the teams are actually, like, these no-name teams are taking games off LPL teams, like, no one's saying shit. And I find that like hilarious. Like, what the hell? It doesn't make sense with, like, in context of reality. And I think it's kind of funny. And I'm not saying that these guys are going to go top 5, top 4, whatever. But at the same time, it's like they showed so much poorer play when they were so hyped up, and now nobody's even hyping these guys. And they're actually playing in competitions that put them up against other LPL teams instead of being just like in the theoretical situations.
But you guys just ragged on the outside tournaments. The fact that if you look at outside tournaments, Invictus Gaming is the best team in China right now, instead of EDG and OMG. So I understand what you're saying, that yeah, they are given the platform and the stage, through Demacia Cup, through other outside tournaments to compete against these LPL teams. But we don't really know how that's going to shake up until the LSPL teams are in LPL, and the failure of Young Glory and World Elite Academy, I think, really did sour that expectation.
Am I back?
You're back.
I think that the Snake and King hype is at a much healthier level than the World Elite Academy hype was.
Yeah.
I think people are saying, they'll place like middle of the pack to like bottom to top of the bottom of the pack. Like I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I think they'll do pretty well. Like
I think King can have the number 1 in the region in the top lane and support position, but their jungler is pretty grievous. I don't think their jungler is very good, whoever he is, for Team King. Mm-hmm. Snake, I think they have like a bunch of really good players, like a bunch of really talented players, but I think they're gonna have a World Elite Academy-esque season because they do like a lot of weird shit. Again, the meta
Snake
is in a place
is a
where
really immature team.
Yeah, the meta is in a place that kind of favors teams like Snake that move a little bit more quickly, that like to fight a lot and stuff like that. Because from what I've seen, and they always put out niche picks that change the identity of team fights and zoning. But at the same time, I don't think Snake's going to do that well. They need another year. They
have 2 underage players, so depending on whether or not these World Championship rules end up getting applied internationally or not, we could see Snake's roster change too before they hit LPL.
And they would lose one of their star players.
Yeah.
2 of their star players, because their AD carry
2 people under
pretty hyped too.
Isn't their AD carry 14 or am I?
Their AD carry is I think 16, and I think their top laner is the 14-year-old. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's just insane. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of sucks that, I don't know. I guess that's kind of veering on a different topic, but yeah, Snake is actually, I think, has a chance of
they have boot camped in Korea.
Good showing, but it's not gonna. Yeah, they just got dropped off in Korea. They're like, well, train up, guys.
Have fun.
Yeah, literally. And then, yeah, so it kind of sucks because I don't know. Maybe they eventually have Worlds opportunities, but not with the roster they have. It's not possible because of the ruling. So,
and depending on whether or
it's
not
kind of hard to talk about.
I guess to suggest that the league enforce these underage rules.
The disappointing thing for me, as far as getting hyped on this this topic, is that there's no. We don't know what relegation is really going to look like for LPL, but we do know that the size of the league is expanding. So obviously King and Snake are guaranteed spots because they're in the top of LSPL, and if LPL is getting bigger, you're going to take more teams from LSPL. So I think that is kind of what also sours it a bit for me. It's that there's no proving ground where, you know, it's the smackdown of World Elite Academy versus Snake or King or smackdown of Young Glory. They just get to walk in there, which that said, World Elite Academy and Young Glory got to walk in there.
They're walking in there. But we'll also get to see like some promotion tournament because there are those extra 4 slots, and World Elite Academy and Young Glory aren't officially out yet. So that's a key distinction too.
Do you guys have anything else? Well, we discussed who we were sending to Worlds.
Can we do fan questions and end?
I don't have the chat in front of me, so Hugo and Kelsey would have to pull it.
I can
I'm gonna eat and I have to go to practice soon. So
anyone have questions?
What are you practicing?
Swimming.
You're a swimmer?
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm fat. I don't look like it. I'm cutting weight, man. Okay?
No, I did.
I've lost like 10 pounds in like. I lost like 10 pounds
David Schwimmer.
Did I say anything?
Yo, I'm not seeing chat questions yet, but I don't see if they're gonna come up.
I'm on the Division 3 level, motherfucker. Fuck you.
If we got no questions within like the next minute, I guess we can just close.
Yeah, I'm so hungry. Did
EDG really scrim?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
You could tell because they went and smashed OMG 3-0 in like an hour or 2-0 technically. But weighted set.
EDG versus Samsung Blue Go.
That would be an amazing game to watch.
Yeah, that's my wish list game, pretty much.
Samsung Blue is better at team fighting than EDG though.
Yeah. Samsung Blue will win that game, no question. It's just it'll be a fun game to watch.
The best game in I think the best game in the tournament would be EDG versus Najin White Shield. That will be a good game. That will be an extremely good game. I would have Najin White Shield taking the set 3-2, but then not like. I don't know. That would be such a good game.
And also, I think Zepha's been playing so much better too. And I think
he's not as good as Name though. Like
no, of course not. But like a lot of people used to shit on him, and he's been doing really well. And I actually really like the adaptability they've made to the specific way Zepha plays. So it's like it's kind of a little bit different than other places. Like I mean, in their set against SKT, Zepha like kind of went like a Bloodthirster Lucian paired with a Janna, and so he was able to fight close quarters and do the DPS like the entire time because of the excess shielding. So, and both teams are pretty creative. So yeah, that is definitely like a matchup that would be really sweet to look forward to.
Where do you realistically think EDG will place in Worlds?
4th.
Third. I think one Korean team will choke somehow, and then.
This is true if we go by evidence of Ozone or whatever, but we'll see. I think 4th is.
It depends on team kills. I think is a really important factor as well.
Yeah,
and which Korean teams that EDG faces on the way up.
Will there be and there might be Korean teams playing each other, like the Najin Black Sword SK Telecom situation. So
like in an ideal world, EDG will like in the best possible situation, EDG will
win Worlds.
Win Worlds.
Yeah.
Win.
I don't know. I will be in the finals.
Newbie and EDG.
I think that's their best possible game.
I don't know. Personally, I'm a little bit skeptic that if it was a Chinese, like if it was 2 different regions that ended up in the finals, I would say that something got, what's the word, manufactured there.
I think it's perfectly likely that we could get teams drawn and 2 Korean teams drawn against each other earlier in the bracket. Like it's happened already. Like we had White Shield drawn against.
To me, feels really manufactured.
SK Telecom, and we had the 2 Chinese teams drawn against each other. I don't think that was manufactured. I think it was.
Well, if we're talking about manufactured in the terms of the best teams in the world not going there, just think of the fact that TSM's going to Worlds, but not SKT. Okay, so it's already not the best teams in the world going.
Discussing in freelance chat, like all the slots should be for Korean teams, and then we could have like one random qualifying team for the rest of the world.
Yeah, this is a good question.
For the last slot.
Rises up.
Do you think Watch is the cutest player in OGN? No, I think the cutest player in OGN is My Little Pony.
Cacao.
No, Pony Hyung.
Cacao is so cute with his Harry Potter glasses.
No. I hear Pony Hyung told me he's making a comeback. Word. Anyways.
Yeah, I can agree on much.
This is a good question. Will NAEU teams be able to beat Chinese teams? I think that Cloud9 and Alliance are better than Starhorn Royal Club.
Yep. I don't know about that. I think that might be bold, but none of them are better than EDG.
None of them are better than EDG. EDG will like you know how like people like don't notice like ants like while they're walking, they just like kind of like step on them, but they don't like really see like ants crawling. That's what EDG will do to Cloud9. Like that's literally what EDG will do to Cloud9. It's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be very quick.
Really good right
I don't think
EDG is so good right now. People are underestimating how solid this team is. This is a world championship contender. It's a world championship contender.
I think EDG is slightly overhyped in the context that they've had like really awkward regular splits, right? So you can say all you want that, you know, EDG just didn't care for the regular split. They were just like trying things out, seeing how far they could push themselves. If Clearlove didn't focus, you know, that stuff. They just barely ended last like they pretty much can thank Young Glory for ending the last split of LPL regular season in first place, and they didn't win a single game in the regular LPL season against OMG in spring. So like I'm not saying that OMG is a better team or is as close to EDG as is in some way like super close to EDG. I'm just saying that EDG has inconsistencies.
But okay,
we still don't know. Like with that said,
no. Calm down, OMG fan gay.
No, I'm not.
Ass blasted OMG fan gay.
How am I being an OMG fan?
No,
like
no.
I acknowledge that EDG is a better team.
No, I
like,
want you to acknowledge
format.
something like this. EDG's performance between their split and their playoff was night and day. That was
but I'm saying that means like we can't just say, oh, okay, he only chooses to actually care during playoffs. Like you can say that,
that's
but
not
I think
caring.
That's
preparation. It was so apparent that EDG paid attention to the finals, that they were looking at KTRs, that they were looking at Samsung Blue, that they were looking at how to improve their warding, and they. In the span of a week, just over the playoffs, EDG became a world-class contender. Previously, before that, I would say, you know, OMG, it's very close, it's very wishy-washy. This isn't an issue of, you know, not caring or caring. This is an issue of preparation and Aaron kicking them in the balls.
You can say that all you want, but Clearlove literally didn't gank during the regular season. Like, he literally did not gank.
But I'm talking about recent performance.
The funny thing was, I spectated Clearlove during a solo queue game in Korea. He's pretty good. Like, he actually, like, he gets aggressive.
He's always been good in solo queue. I don't understand.
His solo queue scores are insane, but
no, not his solo queue scores. His solo queue team. I don't put a lot of stock in scores.
Even in their playoff games, like even in their playoff games, I still see like glimmers of the problems that EDG has, which is that Clearlove is literally their only playmaker during the early game. So for whatever reason he has some problem, then EDG has a huge issue that they might not be able to overcome against like a really strong team. I still think they're going to beat Western teams like really hard. I just think that EDG is slightly overvalued, and like we've been calling them. I think someone's even said the word perfect during the show, and I don't think
I don't think anyone has called them perfect.
No,
I'm pretty sure we stand.
Soldier said that they played perfectly in a set or of some kind.
Yeah, and probably in one. I don't know. EDG played the meta perfectly.
There you go.
Their OMG final set, I think EDG played those games perfectly. That 22-minute surrender, that was played perfectly.
I've been like
really the biggest stomp in any playoffs I think in like history.
I invited like a bunch of like people who like work in LCS who like right in the scene. I was like, yo, come watch this EDG team because they're the real deal, and they're like, yeah, this EDG team is going to come fourth at Worlds.
Yeah, EDG is good. I think they're going to come fourth at Worlds. I don't think that they're like some godly team.
Okay, so we think that the Western
they are some godly team.
Because there's glaring errors in their jungle and mid lane. But I mean, if they can work those out, holy shit, really.
But they've had like an entire year.
I want to kick it down to the other team. So if we assume that...
No, let's end. I'm so hungry.
Oh my god, fine. We're done. He's hungry.
Hey, can we please have a moment of silence for the most pained fans in the universe this year, which are CLG and World Elite fans?
Yeah.
Big Mozzie EUS.
We're all gonna need to get some therapy.
Soldier would like you to donate to his most pained fan cause.
Yeah, dude, honestly. CLG.
Donate Cubo's sandwich. Should
Do you guys have shoutouts?
Most epic rotations. The epic rotation.
Okay, Kelsey, go.
I want to thank again all of the people at Twitch who have been really awesome. Garvey,
Gunrun.
Twitch Studios in general, for helping us out with the LPLen stream, the beautiful stream that you're viewing. I want to thank Felon and Dark Regim, as always, for being really nice to me and giving me some information on China, because I can't read Chinese, and therefore I'm a noob. I want to thank the lovely panelists with me. I want to say that my China regional thingy is on Lolly Sports, the regional guide, or whatever, guide. The survival guide is on LOL Esports.
It was on the client, too.
So if you guys haven't seen that, I also want to say that over the course of the week, I'm going to be coming out with, the plan is 4 articles to prep for regionals. 2 on Gamers and 2 on LOL Esports, so look for those. It might be ambitious, it might just be 1 on Gamers, but...
I might just get 1 of the 4, but you know, it'll be good.
No, it might just be 1 on Gamers and 2 on LOL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It might just be 3, not 4, but... That would be pretty funny. So watch out for those. Also, Drexen made a beautiful article about CLG. Yeah, that you should read on Esports Heaven if you're a CLG fan.
It's actually a terrible article. I read it. Didn't show that he was the leader of a multi-talented team of experts on the League of Legends scene who will stop at nothing to provide the best esports content and make the best sandwiches.
People have context. He's repeatedly quoting my LinkedIn. He's not like crazy or anything.
Well, maybe you should all go to his LinkedIn.
His LinkedIn.
And it had nothing to do with Phantasy Star.
Yeah, nothing to do with Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
For my shoutouts, or Drex, you want to go first, or should I shout out?
No, go.
My shoutouts are all the standard things. As you can see, I'm in a college dorm room now. So
you're edumacated.
I'm edumacated. I'm rotating to I rotated to college just in order to get an education, learn more about the rotators. But I've discussed with other 3, and I've said, I hope I can stay on the show, but then if I have too much work, especially with, I'm doing some analyst work and some coaching work right now, and if I have too much work, then the show has to go first. So hopefully I can keep my grades up so I can stay on Epic China Talk Arena.
That was a good accent, dude.
I'll keep you guys updated. So shout out to real huge shout out to all the fans, or not the fans, the friends who have accompanied us all the way to, what episode is this? Episode 13? Episode 14? So all the way to unlucky number episode 13, because you guys have been great. We've gotten we started from 50 viewers, and then we went to 200 or 300 viewers from the get-go. So shout out to all of you. A lot of you guys don't get my humor. Fuck all of you. No, I'm joking. And so thanks for coming.
Don't get it, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming for LPL. And I decided to take my talents to Fantasy Star Talk, where I'm gonna be their main host.
I hate you.
Okay, only if you wear the outfit every single time.
Alright, well, obviously, shout out to the panelists. Always have a great time talking to all of you guys. LPL, obviously, not going to happen until the playoffs. Well, it's not actually going to be LPL, it'll just be the Chinese regionals. So look out for that. It'll be broadcasted in English on this channel, unless something drastic changes. And then, yeah, I don't really have too much else to say.
Then it leads to me. I think that's the end of the show. Shoutouts again, just huge thank you to Twitch, Garvey in particular, and Gunrun for everything that they've done for us. I know Twitch got in a little bit of a sticky situation there a few weeks back, but I think we've been pretty supportive of them through the entire time. And what Twitch and On Gamers have done just alone as companies for the exposure of LPL has been huge. So huge thank you to all those people. Otherwise, guys, wave. I'm gonna turn off the show. Wave, Hubo. Thank you.